Hey everyone, today I will be 3D printing a Rambone slingshot and converting it into a SlingBow. I've also created my very own custom cyberpunk PCB arrowheads. Here we have a really large piece of printed circuit board. It was found in the parts bin at Tech Shop and it looks like it came from an old computer. Someone probably removed the microprocessors here, and that's alright because I'm not actually going to use it for that purpose, and if I wanted to, I could salvage some of these resistors. Looks like there is a potentiometer here, a capacitor, and there's lots of other little computer chips, but for this project I basically just want the material to create some DIY survivalist arrowheads. So here is, I think, the best out of the bunch. And the reason that I want to experiment with printed circuit board is because I want to create a stun gun arrow. Now this is going to be in a later video, but I need to see if this type of material can actually be used for the general purpose, if it actually can stand up to some sort of target, or if it's going to break immediately. I'm willing to bet that if I make it pointy enough, it's probably going to stab into something, but I want to sort of test those limits. Now, the way to make a stun gun arrow would be to have either two pieces that would have your positive and negative charge, or you could have two lines of the positive and negative charge that run down the center of the arrow. So you can imagine, if this was clear, how that would work. And that way we have a really easy design for the beginning of our stun arrow. I think that would be really cool if I could pull that off, but I have to see first if this type of material is worth working with, or if I need to move on to something different. Whenever you're creating something, it's really good to fail fast. Figure out what doesn't work so you don't waste your time in the end whenever you're polishing it all up and ready to go, and you find out that a very key feature doesn't actually work. It's kind of a waste of time, and then it's back to the drawing board. I chose this template because I think it works best with the diameter of this arrow. Now if you really want to get technical, you could make your own arrows from scratch using like a dial rod. There's lots of tutorials out there that show you how to make your own arrows, but for this project I'm just trying to create the arrow head. And to create a template, you could just trace it out onto a much more durable cardstock or something like that, but I have another interesting method that you guys might find cool. So you take your template and you fold it back in half, and another post-it note, and since there's a little bit of an adhesive here, it keeps it in place. You line that up, make sure that it's basically seated at the very back of this fold, and then you take a pencil, and using the flat end, you want to just sort of outline that. And so the end result is a symmetrical copy, and then you would just cut it out, and there you go. Now this next part is really simple. I basically just found the areas that I felt had the least amount of obstructions on both sides and used a washable glue stick to attach all of these little templates, and that's important because we're going to want to peel this off in the end. Now I'm going to go to the bandsaw. So I got some proper eye protection. It's a face mask, so you know I can't get any uglier. And I sound like Buzz Lightyear because the sound's resonating off this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half. I learned very quickly that whenever you cut this material, it gives off a horrid scent. There's probably some very harmful fumes that are being emitted, so make sure you're in a very well ventilated area, you're wearing a mask, and always wear eye protection. So I am just going to basically do those things, save my ass.
Where is it written that all our dreams must be small?
So here we are. I think those look pretty nice. I think this one I like the best. Leave a comment. 1, 2, 3, or 4. I feel like 3 really looks like a Christmas tree. I don't know. This one looks really cool too. I'm curious to see what the other side looks like. Remember that I used a washable glue stick, so I should be able to submerge these in water and this Post-it note should just come right off. So here we have a close-up of the finished product. First I used some sandpaper to scuff up the surface, and then used a little bit of super glue to adhere this drywall anchor to hold it together on both sides. And then I further attached it using some Kevlar thread and 2 constrictor knots. Then to flare out the end of this drywall anchor, I inserted a screw, and just a little bit of overhang was left so that I could attach this rubber grommet. Now with the other ones, I sort of wanted to experiment with how I could attach these and see which one had the best results. This is just black electrical tape, which is probably the fastest and easiest, but it is very sturdy nevertheless. Kind of forms like a cast, and it's a little bit bulky. And then this was actually the very last idea that I had, and it's interesting that it worked out because this wire actually allowed me to go into these little holes, and you can see the very first one anchor goes through the PCB board, and then I twisted it and then just kept winding it. Now I know it's not perfect, but this is just kind of a quick and dirty survivalist, maybe a cyberpunk, maybe like an urban survivalist warfare or apocalyptic. It's pretty interesting, and there's definitely a lot of conversation that could go on. So if you have a comment, please leave it below. I love reading what you guys have to say. It's very interesting, and you know, maybe someone else can learn something from your contributions.